Hi everyone, this is John Lord, your instructor for Accounting 163. Welcome back. By now you have been able to get into Canvas, obviously if you're seeing this video, and start to look around, and hopefully you found the McGraw-Hill Connect link inside of Canvas, which you then would have paired your Canvas system with McGraw-Hill Connect, and we're able to get in and at least see how we've laid out the homework and the quizzes there, which are going to be our primary task here early on as we go through and chapter by chapter work through homework, quizzes, and leading up to our exam, which will be on September 16th. And at this point, remember, none of your homework is going to be due until September 16th. So we have some time to get used to the system and get used to how we're doing our homework. Again, I don't want you to wait till the last night to do all that, but give you a little time to get going with the overall process of getting your book and pairing Canvas with Connect. I did get one comment on the email. Somebody said, well, I have to, I'd prefer to have a book instead of just reading the iBook. And I think it's for $40, maybe $20. I think it's $40 more. They will give you, they'll let you purchase a loose leaf version of the book. So you want to do that if you want a hard copy of the book. Sometimes the e-book's pretty hard. I don't like to read the e-book, so it's pretty hard to read sometimes. So you can get a loose leaf copy of the book and go through that. I heard that it's not in the bookstore. I don't know why it's not there. We did ask for that to be available in the bookstore, but for whatever reason it's not there. I think your best bet at this point is to go ahead and get the loose leaf version of the book if you want a book. In the meantime, I still think you can make progress with the homework and the quizzes by looking at the slides, which we're going to go through the slides for Chapter 1 as part of this discussion. I think you know that because you probably got this out of the Chapter 1 posting there in Canvas. And we're going to go through the slides together and talk through that. So I think if you look at those slides and hear my commentary on those, you should be in pretty good shape to get through the Chapter 1 material. Chapter 1 is supposed to be at a high level, getting a basic understanding of what this business of auditing is all about. I did notice that they do sort of weave in and out of different phases of the audit and different parts of what will come up in later chapters, which can be a little frustrating because you're thinking, well, am I supposed to completely understand everything that's in here in this Chapter 1 at this point after going through the slides? And the answer is frankly no. We're going to be talking in more detail about some of those things, and I think by the time we get to midterm 1, you'll develop a comfort level with some of that material that you're seeing in Chapter 1, and I think when you look back at the Chapter 1 quizzes later on after we've gone through some of the later chapters, you'll see that we've got a more thorough understanding of some of the things that we're just now starting to break ground on. So don't get too frustrated at first if everything's not clicking exactly for you. I think that as we go along and have some of these discussions, you'll start to feel better about the material that you may be challenged with more in Chapter 1. As we go through the other chapters, you'll feel more comfortable with that. So not too much stress, I hope. I know that getting signed up for everything and getting the books and that is sometimes seems overwhelming, but things will settle down and we'll get into a nice workflow, nice groove here. In the meantime, you might want to go over to the College San Mateo Health Center, pick up one of these guys. They're giving them away over there, a little stress ball, okay? Don't a little stress duck. Don't squeeze them too hard, but I thought that was kind of cute, so I picked one up. So if things get a little rough on you, you can pick up one of these guys, okay? So just a little fun there to hopefully ease some of the stress here at the beginning of the class. I did look at the homework. I'm going to be making some comments on some of those questions as well, because I do think that some of them feel like they're just a little too detailed for where we are at this point, and I'll point out some of those. Remember, you get points for attempting the homework. So again, I wouldn't be shy about getting in there, doing those things. If you make a mistake, if you think the answer is the first one, they don't put A, B, C on these, but if you think it's where A would be the first one, and it turns out it's D or whatever, don't worry too much about that now. We're still so early on in this that I think as you move along, you'll feel much more comfortable with this stuff. But it's important to go ahead and jump in with both feet and start to look at those. So what are we going to be talking about in these first few chapters, and just getting you comfortable with the idea of what we're even doing in this business of auditing. So let me give you just a very basic example. Okay, let's say that you want to start a business, and you begin that business, and you need to suddenly take a trip. You need to leave the country for some reason. And you're looking, and you come to me and you say, okay, John, will you please run my business for me in my absence? I say, sure, no problem. I'll run your business for you. I'll go ahead and I'll run things. Trust me, I'm going to run everything, and you'll be happy with the results of the business when you get back. So you come back, and I say, yeah, things are going pretty good. Here's a financial report. Here's our balance sheet, our income statement as to how things went while you were away. Let's say you were gone for a year. And you sit there and you think to yourself, well, okay, John's a nice guy. I trust him. But how do I really know that this is the results that went on this year that I was away from the business? Maybe we did a lot better than John showing me these financial statements, and he's, taking some off the top. Maybe the company didn't do nearly as well as I think that they did while I was away, and John's just making it look like we did better, so I won't be mad at him, or I won't fire him from this management position. So these questions start to swirl around in your mind. You're thinking, how can I get some sort of assurance that what John is telling me about the operation of the business while I was gone is actually what happened? And so what do? We bring in an independent auditor. I don't know, maybe our duck over here comes in, or maybe it'd be better if we had this brain come over and be our independent auditor. They would come over and say to us, well, I took a look at evidence supporting what John said, and in my opinion, yes, these financial statements reflect correctly the assertions that John made about the operation of the company over this last year. Well, that's what we're talking about in this course. That's what you're going to be learning, what the auditor does as they go through and look at these financial statements and end up giving an opinion based on evidence as to whether or not the assertions in the financial statements which were made by management were fairly stated. Now, when we present our assertions, we follow an applicable framework, probably generally accepted accounting principles in the United States, which were promulgated by the Financial Accounting Standards Board. But if we're preparing our financial statements for, say, Abu Dhabi, where you can, by the way, now take the U.S. CPA exam in Abu Dhabi. But if we were preparing those financial statements for, I don't know, Emirates Airlines, great airline. If you've ever flown Emirates, you won't want to fly any other airlines. If we were looking at those financial statements, well, those would be prepared under the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, which, by the way, for the folks that are thinking about the CPA exam, IFRS is tested on the financial part of the CPA exam that was added in 2011. And so it could be that could be the applicable framework that we'd be looking at. But when the auditor gives the opinion that management's assertions are fairly stated, they are saying that they're fairly stated in the context and the presentation of the generally accepted accounting principles, US GAAP, IFRS, whatever it is. But again, we're getting a little granular here. The bottom line takeaway, the visual here, is that we had that independent brain come in and give us an opinion, give you an opinion, because you are the owner of the business, as to whether management presented fairly the results of operations, our income statement, the financial position, the balance sheet, and of course the cash flows, through our statement of cash flows for this company. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And in this class and in this first chapter, we're just trying to get a high overview as to how the audit fits in with the idea of assurances that are given and the idea of attestations. And then we're going to try to understand what we really already described, frankly, the separation between the management and the ownership of the company, how the auditor provides that credibility, reliability over the financial statements, credibility to the financial statements, what is added by the auditor, and then understand some of the at a high level, some of the steps of an audit, including at a high level understanding the audit report. Now, those last couple of areas, steps in the audit report, one of the concerns that I have about Chapter 1 when I looked at the homework questions, the quiz questions, is I think they're supposed to be at 30,000 feet, and they have this annoying thing of every now and then getting a little bit too low into the terrain, which can get a little bit frustrating for you. Don't worry. By the time you get to some of these early chapters, chapters 3, chapter 4, a lot of these concepts will reinforce, will strengthen your understanding of them. And so if you're getting into the homework right now and you're sitting there, wow, I'm missing, half of these or something, don't worry. Right now, the key thing is for you to get in, look at those questions, get comfortable with them. There is no penalty in this class for getting the questions wrong. You just go in, give them a shot. You're going to get the points for those, and what we're trying to do is build ourselves up to, by the time we're taking our midterms, our finals, we're comfortable with that material. Okay? So with that, let's go ahead and let's start to jump into some of these slides here and see what we've got in front of us.